What if I told you that the life you are living is simply a reflection of the beliefs that you hold about yourself? If you've ever caught yourself saying something like, "Who am I to do this?" or "Maybe I'm just not good enough," this video is for you. I'm going to walk you through the transformative power of mirror work and how I've used this practice to release old limiting beliefs and rewire my brain to become someone that went from shy and introverted to owning my voice and speaking in front of thousands of people around the world, from someone who used to work and build someone else's ladder and dream in the corporate space to now building a global business that is aligned with my true passions and purpose. And from the girl who used to be afraid to be seen to now taking up space in every room. This is week 2 of our 4-week mirror work challenge. And if you already stop believing the lies that are keeping you small and keeping you from the life that is waiting for you, let's get into it. I recently shared that at the middle of the year, we often get off track with the goals that we set at the start of the year. And it's not for lack of desire, it's often because of our core beliefs and identity that we're operating with do not align with the things that we're calling in and desire to manifest. I decided to invite you along for a 4-week mirror work challenge where we are going deep. In week 1, we got really clear on our intentions. And in this week, we are going to identify the stories, the beliefs, the inner dialogue that cannot come with us where we are going and release them. I promise that if you follow along with me for this week, by the end of the week, not only will you identify some of the beliefs that you may not even realize yourself are running the show that you call your life, but you will have a process to fully release them and rewire your brain to become the version of yourself that can actually hold the vision for the greatest expression of what your life is meant to be. Mirror work is a very confronting practice, but it is honestly the thing that I always come back to. It is the practice that has led me to the truest version of who I am, helped me remember the truth of who I am, and remove the mask and the stories that kept me playing small for years. If you've been here for a while, you've probably seen me talk to myself in the mirror through cries, through laughter, through jumping up and down for joy. And this week, we are getting to the root. The thing about manifestation is you can only manifest what you believe you are capable of. And so if we are trying to create a new possibility, a new reality for ourselves, but we're still running from old programming and old stories, old beliefs, old identities that cannot come with us where we are going, it just won't work. There will always be a cap. There will always feel like there's a ceiling. You ever feel that moment where on paper, things are doing okay, but there's something internally that just feels stagnant? It feels like there's a void. That is oftentimes when we are experiencing an up level, but we haven't fully been able to make that up level within our inner dialogue, beliefs, and thoughts about ourselves. And that is where the mirror comes in. You can do this with any form of a mirror, and I'm going to walk you through step by step exactly what to say for the next week, where we are going to both identify and release beliefs and stories that no longer align with what we are calling in. I'm really excited to do this alongside with you because I know the power of mirror work. So many of you have shared your wins over the last 6 months as I've been sharing this practice on this channel of things that you've been able to create. You can come back to this video as many times as you need to each day to make sure that you are guiding yourself through the prompts and really allowing yourself to be uncomfortably honest with you and you in the mirror. By the time we get to week 4, where we are going to start our process of actually manifesting something very specific that you are calling into your life, we want to clear out anything that's in the way of that. And this is exactly what we're doing with this practice of identifying and releasing our old stories and beliefs. If you're new to mirror work, this may still feel uncomfortable. And by the way, it's okay if you miss a day. Don't feel like you have to do every single day. The goal is consistency, whatever that can look like for you, and you will see a result. On day 1, I would start to get really clear on all of the stories you tell yourself around key areas of your life. So money, success, work, relationships, every single area of life that you are currently operating in. What are the stories that you're telling yourself about what is not possible for you in those areas? Money is hard. Rich people are greedy. I will never have enough money. I'm not pretty enough to have love. I will never have a stable relationship. On day 1, we want to be able to really identify these beliefs and stories that cannot come with us where we're going. I like to do something really simple, which is to really just affirm that I'm ready to release these beliefs. It's the acknowledgement that 1, they exist, that they are currently running in the background, and that I am actually ready to let them go. This may sound odd, but sometimes we're actually not ready to let go of an old belief. It can often be tied to something that has us feel like we need to hold on to that belief for safety, because it's a lot safer emotionally and for our nervous system to stay in what is comfortable and what is known, even if it is not serving us for the long term of what we ultimately desire. Which is why it's really important on this first day to acknowledge that I'm actually ready to let this go. I'm ready to write a new story. I'm ready to shift my beliefs and way of thinking about myself and what's possible for my life. I'm going to do this with you in real time. And so on day one, as I always say, you're going to connect with yourself in the mirror. You can just spend about 10 seconds really making deep eye contact with yourself. If you've never done mirror work before, this part can feel really uncomfortable because I'm not asking you to look at your hair or your makeup. I'm asking you to connect intentional gaze with just you and you. You may feel some emotion arise. Sit with it. Do not try to push it down. This is a moment for you to let anything that comes up, comes up. Some people cry at this moment. You may laugh. You may be uncomfortable. You may want to look away. The most important thing is to keep that connection with you. And when you're ready, you can say, Natanya, I am ready to release the beliefs that cannot come with me where I am going. I'm ready to write a new story. I acknowledge that I have been allowing these beliefs to let me play small. And while in many ways it's been comfortable, I know it's time to get uncomfortable because I'm ready for something new. Now, you can, of course, adjust that in your own words, but the key thing is that you are acknowledging that you are ready. You are acknowledging that one, they exist, and that two, you are ready to release them and allow for new, more empowering beliefs, that you are ready to step out of the zone of comfort and step into the unknown. Because the only time we can create something new is from the unknown. When we keep living a cycle of what we already know, we stay stagnant. This is where we start to feel that inner itch, that inner void, that nagging pull that there's something more that no amount of external achievement will ever fulfill. If you have a journal or you want to do voice notes, you can also write down one or two or three beliefs that are limiting your potential, that cannot come with you to your next level. This is a really powerful practice that you can come back to time and time again, but it's really important to start the process of rewiring your brain, your beliefs about who you are and what you are capable of. That way we can easily move to day two, where we're going to release some of those old stories that have contributed to those limiting beliefs. Stories from our past can often bring up old wounds, fears, or doubts. And not every story has to be traumatic, but there can be something that happened to you or that you saw or that you experienced that you are now bringing into the present, and it just doesn't need to come with you. We often hold shame and guilt for things that were never our responsibility to carry in the first place. Whenever I do a breakthrough session with a client, this is a very deep, emotionally intensive session where we really get to the root of whatever is blocking them from stepping into the fullness of who they are. And every single time there is a story from usually childhood that they are carrying around that carries some level of shame or guilt with them that they're now bringing into their work. Whether they're entrepreneurs or building a career, they often find themselves repeating habits that are ultimately self-sabotaging. It's not until we actually identify one, the belief, and two, the story that's contributing to that belief, that they are able to then release those stories, release the guilt and shame and energy around whatever did or didn't happen, and step into a new possibility. On day two, I would encourage you again to, whether you want to journal or voice note, take a few moments to really reflect on what is one story from my past, whether that is childhood or adulthood, that I am holding onto any shame or guilt. What is the thing that I would not want a new friend to know? What is the thing that I would want never to speak out loud? And I want you to speak it to yourself first, because we cannot release what we are not willing to actually identify and acknowledge exists in the first place. Once you've taken a few moments with yourself in your journal, you can go back to the mirror, and once again, you're going to do your 10-second focused intentional gaze with self. And then we're going to take a moment to actually speak life into the fact that we are ready to release those old stories. Now, I encourage you to actually be really specific about what it is that you're releasing, but obviously that's going to vary for each person. So I'm going to give you a generic template to follow, but I want you to replace the word stories with the actual story that you are releasing. Natanya, I release the stories from my past. I release the guilt. I release the shame. I release the fear of being seen. I forgive myself for holding on to this for so long. I forgive myself for hiding. I forgive you. I forgive you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for giving words to my fears, to my secrets, to the things that I buried away. I am calling them by name because I refuse to allow them to have power over me anymore. I release the shame. I release the guilt. I release the fear. Now, again, this is an opportunity to be uncomfortably honest with yourself because, again, when we talk about manifestation and co creating the life you desire, this is part of that work. Now, on day 3, we're going to replace some of the limiting beliefs you identified on day 1 with more positive, affirming, and empowering ones. This is an opportunity to basically take the opposite of the things that you identified that were running in the background on day 1. So, for example, if previously I was telling myself, I'm not good enough, it will never work out for me, I don't deserve it, I am going to speak life into what I actually desire to believe about myself. Natanya, you are powerful. You are worthy. You deserve all of the success that is here and that is on its way. You are more powerful than you know. You are capable. You are one of one. You are worthy. I trust in my ability to create the life I desire. Everything I desire is mine. I am more than capable. I am more than enough. If you felt like one of those really you needed to hear more than once, I encourage you to repeat it as many times as you need to, and even write them down on a Post-it note. Put them on your vanity mirror, put them on your fridge, put them in your workspace, put them in places that you can see them each day as you start to literally rewire your brain about what you believe about yourself and your potential. Now, for the rest of the week, on days 4 through 7, I encourage you to repeat this process. That means that as you go about your day, you are likely going to continue to feel and hear old stories and beliefs come up. That's not going to work. That's ugly. That's not good enough. People don't like it. People don't like you. And in the morning, every day throughout this week, you are going to identify and release those beliefs. You are going to identify and release any stories that contributed to those beliefs. So maybe you believe you're not good enough because in the 3rd grade class, when you did show and tell, everyone made fun of you. You were going to release the story around what that event made you feel around yourself. You were going to release the beliefs that have now been running in the background for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, telling you you're not good enough. No one will like it. They're going to make fun of you. You're going to actually speak that into the mirror in your own eyes. And you are going to start to continuously reprogram new, more affirming, positive beliefs into your subconscious through the mirror. So every day, days 4 through 7, get into the mirror, and you can do all 3 on one day, meaning I can go in the mirror and say to myself, Natanya, I'm ready to release the belief that I'm not smart enough. I'm ready to release the belief that I'm not creative enough. I'm ready to release the story that I've been holding this guilt and shame around. I am more creative than I can ever know. My creativity is my superpower. I am smart. I am intelligent. I am capable. This is really an opportunity to really anchor this in so that as we move through this 4-week challenge and ultimately reset your life, this is an opportunity to really go beyond the surface level affirmations. We're getting to the root, identifying it, moving it out the way, and replacing it with the actual foundation that we desire that's going to bring us to becoming the version of ourselves that can actually hold the vision of everything we want for our lives. Don't worry about doing this perfect. Again, if you miss a day, it's not a big deal. And I'd love to hear what comes up for you this week. Make sure that you watch week 1 if you haven't yet, and drop a note in the comments to let me know what comes up as you start to go deeper into this consistent mirror work practice. This is the practice that has changed my life, and I cannot wait for it to change yours too. If you want some extra help with this, I recently hosted a workshop where I guided a group of incredible individuals from around the world world through a 3-part mirror work practice. I gave them the exact prompts. We did mirror work together live, and I am offering the replay of that workshop along with the workbook for you to be able to do on your own time. This is a 2-hour workshop that really goes deep. We went through our past, our present, and our future. We manifested in ways that you've seen me do in this channel through jumping up and down, through getting really excited, through feeling the feelings. We also really acknowledge the old stories and beliefs that can't come with us, where we are going to attain that manifestation. If you'd like to experience that practice and grab the workshop and the replay, click the link in my description, and I cannot wait to see you on the next